Hi, everyone. My name is Keith Toda, and I am the department head for world languages here at Parkview High School. So, let me give you some information about our program here as you begin to look at registration. So, one of the first questions which we get asked is, do students need language to graduate high school? And the answer is no. However, let me explain that. First off, there is no high school graduation requirement for language. So the first thing to keep in mind is that while you have core subject areas, language is considered an elective. So to graduate, however, students do need a certain number of elective credit. So when students complete a foreign language course, then that goes towards their high school elective credits for graduation. However, and this is the big part, however, if you plan to attend college after high school, colleges require 2 years, levels one and two, of the same language. And so, one of the things to keep in mind is that although language is not required for high school graduation, it is required for college admission. So, if you plan to go to college, the first thing you need to keep in mind is that you do need to meet the basic requirement of levels one and two of the same language. So, it's not 1 year of Spanish one and 1 year of German one, but it's 2 years, levels one and two, of that same language. However, the third and fourth year of languages actually look even better for colleges. So 2 years is the basic requirement, but the third and fourth year of college of language looks even better to college admissions. So, one of the things to also consider is what languages are offered here at Parkview. We offer French, German, Latin, Spanish, and Spanish for native speaker class. And one of the questions we also get asked is, so which of those languages is the easiest? And quite honestly, I can't say there's such thing as an easy language because they're all equally easy and they're all equally difficult. The question which you want to ask yourself is more specifically, what language do you want to take? So that's something to keep in mind. Again, don't be thinking about, well, which one do you think is the easiest, but rather, which language do you want to take? Because then that will be something that is your choice. Now, another thing about language is, how does taking a world language class prepare you for college applications? So, one of the things, as I said, again, is that the basic requirement is 2 years of the same language, levels one and two, for college admissions. So, if you plan to go to college, we do actually suggest that you start language your ninth grade year or at least your 10th grade year. That way, then you have the opportunities to take levels one, two, and three, and possibly four, depending on the year that you start your language. So be thinking about that. The biggest thing, like we said, is look at what your college wants. Do they just want the basic requirements of levels one and two, or are they requesting levels three and possibly four? And if that's the case, then you need to look and start looking backwards as to, when should I start my language? If you start your language in your 10th grade year and wish to take 4 years, you won't be able to do that. You will only be able to take 3 years because your third year of language would be your senior year. So, something else we also want you to be mindful of is, if you are a native speaker of Spanish or possibly a heritage speaker, you speak it at home, we definitely want you to take language here at Parkview. But more specifically, we want you to keep in mind that there's something called a Spanish for native speakers class. So that is for those students who are native speakers or speak Spanish at home. We don't want you taking Spanish 1 because you already know the language and you're going to be incredibly bored in Spanish 1. So consider taking Spanish for native speakers. Also, if you are a native speaker or a heritage speaker, you can enroll in German 1, French 1, or Latin 1. Finally, something we also want you to be aware of is something called a seal of biliteracy. And the seal of biliteracy is an industry standard recognized by universities and employers as a sign of excellence and biliteracy, literacy in more than one language. To achieve this seal of biliteracy, which would go on your high school diploma, you would need to have an overall average of a B in your language arts classes. Secondly, you need to have an overall B average in your language. And then lastly, you must then pass a prescribed proficiency test, excuse me. So that would be an AP exam, such as AP French, AP German, or AP Spanish with a score of 4, or in Latin, the ALER proficiency exam with a score of intermediate 4. So again, for that, you need a 4-year overall grade average of B in language arts, an overall average of B in your language courses, and having passed and demonstrated proficiency on an AP exam of 4, or for Latin, a score of intermediate 4. So I hope this information has been very helpful for you, and we look forward to seeing you in a language class. All right, take care.